You're listening to the Sales for Results podcast, written and produced by Paul Padilla. Paul Padilla is the CEO and Managing Director from Sales for Results. Sales for Results is a global sales and marketing consultancy that possesses the experience and academic knowledge to help and support businesses to achieve their goals. Each episode will give you the practical tips you need to take your business to the next level. Let's go to the show.
How to coach and develop a winning sales team. As the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work. If you want to increase your sales, starting from the ground up by developing a winning sales team should be your first priority. A successful and motivated team can be the difference between waiting in mediocrity and taking your business to the next level. Fostering those around you will increase productivity, team cohesiveness, create healthy competition, and most importantly, increase sales. That's why in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing tips and strategies on how you can coach and develop your sales team into one that is going to crush. Coaching and leadership go hand in hand. A recent study by Knowledge Tree has shown that sales reps who received at least 3 hours of coaching per month increased their close rate by a whopping 70%. What's more, they also exceed their sales goal on an average of about 7% and increase their revenue by 25%. The numbers don't lie. Coaching is a key to winning. With this kind of data, it's surprising to know that nearly 2/3 of all managers spend less than 5% of their time coaching, according to the information from the Task Group. It can be difficult to find the time to coach your team, but the results it can yield can be extraordinary. On top of that, becoming an effective coach rather than a middling one can be the extra boost your sales need. So what makes a good coach? First thing first is to make important distinctions. Coaching is just one aspect of developing a winning sales team. You're probably familiar with the first two aspects of team development: training and managing. So what are the differences? Well, training specifically deals with teaching vital technical skills. If your company is using a specific kind of software or has a detailed protocol or some other sort of technical need, then your sales team has to be trained to do these things. For example, a nurse has to be trained on how to draw blood. A mechanic has to be trained on how to install an engine component. And a sales representative may have to be trained on how to utilize your company's process. Training is absolutely essential and is a core part of team development, but it isn't the same as coaching. Training is perhaps the simplest aspect of developing your team because once the knowledge and skills are imparted, it usually doesn't have to be revisited. Coaching and managing are a bit more dynamic. Everyone who heads a sales team understands the importance of managing. Taking the reins, implementing a plan, balancing interpersonal dynamics, scheduling, and prioritizing are all vital aspects that go into managing a sales team. With managing, you are balancing your results. Coaching is more hands-off than managing. Often with managing, you're interjecting yourself into a situation and trying to yield certain results yourself. Coaching involves developing skills into your team so that they can accomplish these things more efficiently themselves. You aren't managing results when you coach, but rather developing winning behaviors. As managers, we are used to analyzing situations and trying to find the best solutions. As coaches, we are analyzing ourselves and our sales reps to identify areas that may need improvement and areas where we are going strong. If training is static, coaching is dynamic. Once an athlete learns the rules of a sport, he won't have to learn them again. But as the levels of play increase, the role of the coach becomes all the more important, helping the athlete find the right adjustments to continually improve. In other words, coaching is how you take the skills and knowledge your sales team has and getting them to their full potential by increasing personal competency and encouraging positive approaches to interactions. It's all about maximizing the potential out of yourself and your team. Now it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that coaching simply means telling your team to sell more. Everybody wants to sell more, and chances are your reps have higher sales generation as their number one goal. However, as the cliche goes, it isn't about the destination, it's about the journey. Focusing on the process rather than the end result is at the core of good coaching. If you're looking at the results, you're not seeing the whole picture, which will lead to your coaching becoming less dynamic and effective. How they achieve those results is what needs to be examined to determine what things are working and what things need to be improved upon. Okay, so what are the essential parts of the process that need to be analyzed to become an effective sales coach? One of the first steps in analyzing performance is recognizing trends during specific sales periods. Comparing times where your reps did well compared to the times where they weren't as successful is a great starting point because it allows you to focus in on any differences in their behaviors or practices during these periods. Identify any difference in the activity that your rep engaged in, such as phone calls versus emails, and look for differences in response rates. You'll want to look at things like rate of contact, meaning logged activities versus lead generation, and the follow-up actions your rep took. Taking all this data into consideration can identify all the areas where your rep is doing well, and importantly, any areas in which they may need improvement. As an example, it could be a problem with persistence in pursuing leads that convert to opportunities. You may also find that additional training may be needed if sales conversions are low, perhaps requiring improvement in their sales, emails, or cold call pitches. It could be that your reps aren't following up as often as they should be. Whatever the problem is, the most important job for a coach is to be able to identify that problem by analyzing the data. Coaches in sports do the same thing. They analyze trends to identify problems and suggest adjustments in approach as potential solutions. Broken down into 3 steps, the coaching process would go something like this. Firstly, you must identify the selling activities of your reps. After that, you have to postulate which changes in management behavior that will yield more desirable results. Lastly, implement these new adjustments and then reevaluate the results. It's an ongoing process and there will always be room for improvement. But it's important to also be encouraging. Improvement can come gradually, so a coach who is constantly focused on the negative can discourage their reps. Be sure to use positive reinforcement in your analysis and the game plans you implement as a sales coach. It's also important to try and improve your managing skills as well. Becoming a more efficient manager will also make you a better sales coach. There are a few important factors in the management of your team that can help you improve as a sales coach. First, amongst these is examining the number of opportunities your reps are receiving in the pipeline. If you have one rep who is overloaded with opportunities, they may not be able to attend all of them. Having balanced pipelines amongst your reps will increase the likelihood that they will be able to manage their workloads. Once you have balanced pipelines, you can more easily identify which stages the opportunities land. This can help you work out priorities that you can then relay to your sales team, increasing the chances of conversion. It can be incredibly discouraging as a rep to be coached, implement the coach's plan, and then not see results because of mismanagement. Make sure as a manager that you are helping your reps prioritize their opportunities to maximize results. Another thing to consider as a manager is making sure your reps are dealing with opportunities that are appropriate for their experience and skill levels. For example, more lucrative deals often have lower conversion rates and longer sales cycles. These are the types of deals that should be given to your most experienced reps who have the best opportunities to convert them. Overloading weaker reps with tasks that can overwhelm them is a recipe for failure. Of course, you don't want to always give the best deals to your most experienced reps either. It's all about fostering growth. So if there's a chance for a less experienced rep to get a big win, it may be worth giving them the opportunity. These situations also allow you to utilize your coaching and help them through the process. It's all a balancing act between choosing the right opportunities to focus on, which reps to deal with them, and properly prioritizing them. Remaining vigilant over your team's pipelines and identifying trends in your reps' approach will help you adjust your priorities as a manager, which in turn will make you a better coach when you relay that information to your team. Another vital aspect of coaching is giving proper feedback. There are technical aspects to this, but it's also important to develop your interpersonal skills to optimize the experience both for yourself and your sales reps. On the technical side, there are a few important aspects you want to examine to help you give proper feedback. The first is their win rate, or the rate in which they get prospects to the opportunity stage. You can look at this rate when comparing previous sales periods or the sales of other team members. You'll also want to examine their average sales cycle. This is the average number of days it took your rep to move from the opportunity stage to a closed deal. This is a key component in identifying trends of progression or regression. The shorter the sales cycle, the better. Lastly, you'll want to consider the size of their closed deals. A high win rate may not necessarily be a good thing if the deals are consistently small. Considering these core components will help you deliver the best feedback. However, interpersonal skills can be just as important when delivering feedback as a technical data. As a coach, you will develop your approach when dealing with your reps. It's important to keep in mind that a one-size-fits-all approach may not work for everyone. But at the same time, you don't want to show special treatment or be unfair. Developing your communication skills will not only improve your coaching, but also make you a more effective leader, manager, and trainer as well. You'll want to focus on delivering clear, unambiguous messages. Word choice and logical consistency can help you avoid a lot of headaches. You'll also want to use appropriate body language and tone of voice. Things like eye contact, body positioning, and physical mannerisms are often overlooked when giving feedback. Make sure that the things you are saying are being understood well. If they aren't, it may be a fault in your methods of communication. Remember, as a coach, you are focusing on the behavior, not the person. This should always be a core tenet to how you approach coaching. Personal attacks are not effective ways to motivate your team. You want to be assertive positively and proactively, but you don't want to be aggressive or overbearing when doing so. Don't be meek and apologetic, but at the same time, don't be a jerk. You'll want to be concise and direct, but not blunt. Sarcasm and demeaning comments can work against this aim. Remember, giving feedback is all about identifying good and bad behaviors. So do your best to be specific and avoid judgmental statements. Allowing your rep to explore new approaches or offer their suggestions for improvement will keep them engaged and optimistic. 3 goals should be the objective for every feedback session. You'll want to establish ownership of the feedback by the recipient, a commitment to change where desired, and create a mutually agreed upon plan of action to be implemented after the session. You'll want to begin your sessions by establishing a rapport, a stage that shouldn't be rushed. You don't want your reps to view this experience as a negative process, but rather as an encouraging and positive one. Utilizing questions is a great way to approach this. Not only do questions help you understand your reps better, but they also allow for more open communication. People are usually more receptive to hearing constructive criticism if they can identify their problem areas themselves. A great strategy for reaching this point is to use questions such as, "How do you think you did?" "How do you feel about that?" "What did you hope to achieve?" And "How would you assess your performance?" Remember that word choice is important, and shouldn't be overlooked. Instead of saying things like, "you are," "this is a poor rating on," "one area of weakness is," a more helpful approach would be using your more neutral language, such as, "the ratings indicate that," "the indications are that," "measuring against previous scores," etc. Sales coaching is a proven way to improve the performance of your sales team. If you take the time to develop your coaching skills and then begin coaching your team, you'll reap the benefits. Remember to be proactive and to conduct yourself with integrity in everything you do. Thank you for listening to our podcast on how to coach and develop a winning sales team. At Sales for Results, we are dedicated to helping our clients convert more sales, grow their businesses, and increase their revenues and profitability. Check back on our blog for more content that can help you take your sales to the next level.
You've been listening to the Sales for Results podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Have questions? Contact Paul at salesforresults.co.uk. See you in the next episode.